All right, welcome to the second hour of the Elias Macko Show. The show is just action-packed bananas. I should point this out. Program note, we're going to be speaking to a former premier of Quebec. Philippe Couillard will join us. Third hour of the show, 11:30. I'm going to get his take on how to reduce interprovincial trade barriers. It will be great to catch up with the former premier of this province in the third hour of the show. Those of you who say my vote doesn't matter, let me present Exhibit A in the case against you. Lachine. The borough of Lachine. You just heard Trudy Mason give you the details here. As it stands right now, with 125 of the 125 polling stations reporting, 1 vote lead. Julie Pascal Provost from Ensemble Montréal has a 1 vote lead over Maya Vodanovich and Projet Montréal. 5,062 to 5,061. If you stayed on the couch yesterday in Lachine, shame on you, because that's how close it came. Did you pull a Larry David and say, I'm not going to vote, or make up an agreement with someone not to vote? You just never know what could happen. 1 vote in Lachine. Another thing that we are keeping track of, and at 10:30, we're going to be taking the time on this one, the STM strikes on Saturday. Was your day ruined by the fact that we didn't have any service? And now for this month of November, the fact that we're only having that reduced rush hour and end of evening service. If you are frustrated and being hurt by these STM strikes, we'll hear from you at 10:30. Before we do any of that, let's welcome Glenn Castanheira, Executive Director of Montréal Centre-Ville, the Downtown Business Association. He's on the line. Glenn, welcome back to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Listen, over the last month, there's one thing I noticed. You know, I've got the Instagram, you've got the Instagram, and you've got social media. And you have been posting a lot, not endorsing a candidate, but making it pretty clear what you and your business association wanted to see. Is it fair to say you got what you wanted last night?
I can't answer by a yes or no, because the truth is, regardless of who is in power, our job is to work with who is at the helm of the city. So our job was to sensitize all main candidates. And I had reassurance from all main candidates, including Mr. Rabouin and even Mr. Sauvé, that we would find ways to work together. So again, the business community's job isn't to dictate how the city is run. It's to make sure that the issues that we know are true and are essential to preserve the finances of the city and making it a prosperous city are heard. And in that sense, we are happy. We see that the intentions of Mayor Farada are those of working with the business community, working towards making downtown a safer, more inviting and accessible and thriving place. And that's something we're very much looking forward to.
Glenn, in the first hour of the show, I asked our listeners what priority number one should be for the new mayor of Montreal. I'll just read one text coming in from a listener saying, what should be done first? Have the police do something about people openly doing drugs on the streets of Montreal. Mm-hmm. I'm on St. Catharines right now and just got to watch a group of people shooting up heroin. There are 4 policemen 1 block away having coffee chatting. They're not doing anything about this. This is just one text I got. The number of messages about Atwater, especially in that area. In your conversations with the Ensemble Montréal people and perhaps the mayor, was there an indication on what will come now on that dossier, public security, drug use, and that?
Absolutely. And what I hear from her team and what I heard from her team, well, speaking on the ground, amongst others, Claude Pinard and Leslie Roberts, who are both poised to be officially elected in Ville-Marie, is to make public safety and quality of life a priority. And it's important, we really take these things for granted. And I think that's a mistake some municipal candidates do, which is to forget what's the core business of a city. And I think that's a mistake we can see that can explain some of the defeats that we've seen, which is, it's one thing to be concerned with conflicts happening halfway around the world. It's one thing to want to take, very, I want to say, positions that can help with the virtue of an individual. But the fact is, we need to make decisions on matters that we control, and making sure that our city is safe and clean is something that the city controls.
So I have to ask you, what do you think the message is here? Okay, so looking at Ville Marie and what you just referenced, right? So I'll say it, and I'll say it out loud. The last 2 years plus of a group terrorizing the streets of this city over and over and over again, and just being allowed to do it. If you look at the results, Leslie Roberts, he didn't just win. He crushed it. And many people said, I heard people saying, oh, well, his hardline position on the subject is going to be a negative. Certainly wasn't last night. I look at, and I look at Claude Pinard. Now, he's in the lead by 13 votes, right? So anything could happen there, but we have all the polls reporting in the Saint-Jacques district. He beat a guy, Robert Beaudry. This is a guy that should have won that easily. He's
absolutely
right, and he did not win it easily. He's lost right now as it stands.
Correct.
Yeah.
And as I said, to your point, every vote counts. But I think the Saint-Jacques district is a good illustration of this situation. It's a district, and for our listeners, it's a district that includes Old Montreal, the Gay Village, Chinatown, and parts of the Latin Quarter, like Quartier Latin. Very, very, very different realities in these different districts. But there's one particularity with that district, is that the issues of drug consumption and violence on the public streets is something major for these residents. And what we've seen is, the city working closely with community groups that, want to do what's right and what we all want to do, but with people who don't necessarily live in the district and know the realities of, parents dropping off their children to a daycare that requires police to escort their children. That's something that isn't gray. It's black or white. If your children aren't safe at daycare, there's a problem. If you can't take a walk at night because you have syringes all over, or people with certain behaviors that would never be tolerated anywhere else in the city, then that's a problem. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this new administration is going to tackle those issues by applying best practices and, above all, avoiding repeating mistakes that were done in other cities.
What do you think can be done in short order? Holidays are approaching. There's always an excuse where things get bogged down and change happens too slowly. Is there something you're looking at that you think there can be results sooner than later?
I know we're all looking for results on the ground. And maybe I'm too much of a municipal geek, Elias, but I'm going to be looking at who Mayor but where Soraya, I want to call her Soraya, but where Soraya Martinez-Ferrada will name in her team, who will be her chiefs of staffs in the different boroughs, who will be her special advisors, who will be her executive committee. Those are extremely important decisions. And if you were to compare this with hockey, you want to see your team win on the ice, but if you don't get the right coaches, if you don't get the right personnel, the right medical personnel, the right support staff, well, all that is just a dream. So in the next hours and next days, it will be quite important to see who her and her chief of staff nominate in those different key roles and positions that will make the city run. And that's key.
Glenn, I think a lot of us want the city to turn things around in many different metrics. We shall see. It's great that you came on this morning to give us your reaction. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Glenn Castanheira, Executive Director of Montréal Centre-Ville, the Downtown Business Association.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years. And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.